Wait a minute. Where'd it go? This is part of Eglins. Where'd it go? Where's the tower? Well, doggone it. There it is. There it is. That's a radar tower. Oops. Why does it do that? There it is. That's just one of many. Isn't that a weird looking thing?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, Ski, that's not like any radar tower I've ever seen.
Well, that is, as the crow flies, that is probably about 3.5, 4 miles from where I am. So anyway, crazy.
Well, it's 5 o'clock.
Yes, it is.
And we have Deb in the house.
All right, Deb, what's going on?
Nothing. Pam sent out the call asking for help, and I said, okay, I'm actually off work today, so I can help, jump in and help. And anybody, if they so inclined, they can either join or stick around. It's a free Friday, so whatever everybody feels like doing.
Friday free for all, huh?
Right. So, anyway.
Well, have a great show, Deb. Ski. Have a great weekend.
Y'all too. Take care. Be safe. And we'll see you next week.
Okay. All right, everybody. Let's see. I guess everybody abandoned me. Oh. But anyway, this is Deb65. How is everybody this afternoon? Give me a one if you're sticking around, and if round table's always fun, I think. There's just so much going on. I never really know what to go over these days, but if you're sticking around, I am going to drop my email. Hey, Ziap. Joker Be Wild. Okay, Vindication 45. Hello. And I'm going to go ahead and, in case this is Deb, I do On a Wing on Prayer on Thursday mornings, 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Eastern, so just for your time zone. And then again, Saturday evenings from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, so again, just for your time zone. So I see J Lack and Dear Man, and let's see where else. And, for those who have been following me and listening to me for a while, I started doing live streams on YouTube. So I have got my YouTube account kind of more going. I just finished earlier today. I did 2 Samuel 22. I am having issues with the live stream, just so you know, because I actually have one live stream that I was able to keep, only because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to share through Zoom. I open up the live stream through YouTube, and then when I go share through Zoom. And when I tried to do my Zoom share for my Bible study, it's, for some reason, the live stream from through YouTube doesn't like that, and it kicks me out. But it worked one time. I don't get it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a setting. I don't know if it's the computer. The resources are drawn too much, and it just doesn't like to share through share. So anyway, I might try next time. I might try to maybe next week I'll work on trying to do it through Rumble and see if I have better luck, because I really want to do a live stream where I can have people coming into the chat and interact. It's of course, when you share, it's hard to interact unless you have a pop-up where you can see the chat. So I'm still working. I do this by myself, so I'm working at it. And doing the best I can. So stuff is saying breaking government of Pakistan has decided to formally recommend President Trump for the 2028 Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, well, more power to him, because I hope he does. And so, and with that being said, if anybody wants to join me, if there's somebody out there, a host or someone listening, if you want to join to talk about what's going on, I do have a few things. Whether or not I got 2 hours for all the stuff, I don't know. But anyway, I put my YouTube link out there, and I'll put my Rumble link if you want to. And of course, the best way to help support or help me out is, go into these platforms and like and share or repost. Let's help out with the algorithms. And I don't know if I get some likes, but it's like, or I get some views, but I don't know if people actually stick around and listen to all of it. So all right, I think that's it. All right, so how about these protesters, everyone? Have y'all seen this? Okay, now I found this. Goofy people. It probably is, but so they're doing a No Kings 2.0 rally. And guess what? Guess what day it's going to be? Right? Anybody want to guess? 4th of July. These people are just, I don't know what to think. What do you guys think? So it says National Protest, July the 4th, 2025. No Kings 2.0. Well, we don't have king. We got a president. That's because George Washington didn't want us to go back to a monarchy system, because that's what the founding fathers fought against, right? They fought against the tyranny of having a monarch. They fought against having to, whatever religion, if you will, whatever faith that they practice, whether it be a Protestant, Roman Catholic, or whatever kind of faith, the people. So whatever the faith of the monarch was, that's what the people of the kingdom was supposed to follow along. So our founding fathers said, no, we want to be able to worship the Lord as whether we are Protestant, we want with our Protestant it all goes back down to the Reformation and Martin Luther, right? And William Tyndale. And because they wanted to get the word of God into the hands of the people, and not let the whoever the whether it be a priest or whoever the spiritual leader at the time was, they didn't want, they wanted to, the spiritual leader, whoever, depending on your whoever the monarch was, would be the one to disseminate and tell you basically what the Bible said, instead of people. And that actually goes back to, I believe it's Queen I want to say Queen Elizabeth, King Henry VIII's daughter. But I mean, so anyway, the whole point was the founding fathers, and being able, this whole thing. And I can't remember if it was Deacon or Alan Myers or someone else. I can't remember. They talked about I can't remember who it was. I'm sure chat, since I know y'all listen to Patriots Soapbox most of the time, protesting really isn't in the Constitution per se. It's peacefully assemble. That means, because you've got to remember, the town criers would be in the square, the city square, and people would gather, like when people like Charles Spurgeon getting and talking about God, and they would be in the town choir, and the people in the town square, and people would come and congregate and assemble. And also, you go, so you got that. And so that's what 4th of July was all about. and the founding fathers creating our the United States of America was about. Is we wanted to get away from the rulings of the monarchy. So anyway, so anyway, to go with this says independence without tyranny. Oh man, I mean these people like to use the word. So this 4th of July, we are reclaiming America's promise: freedom for all, justice for all, no kings. Okay, so who came up with the idea that President Trump wanted to be a king? Yeah, these the runaway rhetoric that these people come up with. It I find it weird. Like calling President Trump a taco man. It's like, who came up with this stuff, right? I mean, it's like it didn't work. I mean, here's the thing: did they really think it's going to work on 4th of July? I think this is kind of a pushback because everybody were laughing at them because of the fizzling out. I mean, did people see the pictures that they were trying to say and the memes that they were saying that there were more people at these protests than the Army's parade, the 250th anniversary of the Army? Do they? I mean, yeah, I saw these pictures. I'm like, how do you know those weren't fake pictures? We know they do that. That's what the media. Remember President Trump's first inauguration? They tried to say there wasn't that many people, and I mean, they so manipulate the pictures and everything. Yeah, they keep pushing. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to me that they are going to do that. So here we go. They're just going to be laughed at even more. So let's see. So where did they come up with President Trump? President Trump wants to be king. All right. I mean, come on. First of all, if he was king, again, going back to the founding fathers, what would happen in the monarch and under the monarch system? Nobody could protest against the king. He was considered a traitor to the country if you did, and most of the time, they would be in jail. They would be thrown in jail for protesting the king. I mean, you think about the King Henry VIII, and or was it King Henry VIII and Samuel Beckett? What happened to Samuel Beckett? I remember reading about that in school and saw the movie, right? With Samuel Beckett, how they used to be, he and the king were big friends, but because Samuel Beckett, was kind of chastise him and tell him no, he couldn't get the divorce, and somehow Sam Beckett ended up murdered, and everybody suspected it was the king. Of course, the monarchy was one of the most in England was some of the most bloodthirsty people you could find. Has a history. So so they're like, no king. So again, these people would not even be allowed to protest. Protest, and these people that actually think that throwing Molotov cocktails, bricks, when did that become a protest? These you almost have to feel sorry for these people that get paid to do this, and then the consequences that they're suffering for all of this, just because they are getting paid, and it's so crazy. Anyway, it says what started as a local protest is now a nationwide movement. I wonder what local protest they're talking about. This isn't about left versus right. This is about people versus power unchecked. Okay, what power is being unchecked? You got these activist judges at every every nick and cranny that are trying to, every time President Trump does something, there's a lawsuit filed against him, and all it does is delay, and then yet it goes to the Supreme Court and it gets overturned. You got people, but here's what's really frustrating. You got these judges, these activist judges, they're trying to or even these district court judges, these district judges that are trying to regulate for the whole nation. That's what the Supreme Court is for. So no more leaders above the law. Oh, you mean like Biden and Obama? And I mean, you got Obama. Where did the 6,000 kids go that Obama sold to the migrants? Where did all the 30,000 kids go under a Biden? What about, we got Clinton? What about all them? How is that above the law? I mean, aren't they above the law? Didn't they do things above the law? What about Biden, not even being a president in the true sense with the auto pen? And, President Trump, did y'all see that they're, I think, they're doing that investigation. They're starting to do that investigation into the Colorado. And it interesting, I saw something about Colorado. Oh yeah, Mike Lindell. If you didn't hear Mike Lindell's lawsuit on Monday, or his court trial, and where did it happen to be? Colorado. So I think we're going to see a lot coming out of Colorado. They're going to owe, instead of Mike Lindell owing money, they're going to owe him. They're going to have to owe him money for false for what they did to him, and then Tita Peters. So we all know that. So here we go. So no more silence when rights are stripped away. No more fear, manipulation, or false. And I don't know if you probably can't see it. They spelled patriotism. So this is one reason why I'm not sure just how accurate this thing is. I'm sure it's going to gain momentum, even if this isn't a real thing. I'm sure it's somehow going to gain momentum, and people are going to buy into it. But they spelled patriotism, Patrietism, patriotism. They don't even know how to spell. Whoever came up with this, maybe it was an AI generated, who knows? But someone doesn't know how to spell. Defamation. Thank you, rock and roll. So join us on July 4th from coast to coast, city streets and to small towns. We're raising our VOS. VOS. Again, I have no idea where this came from. I got this actually from Terrence Williams. I follow him on Facebook, and I actually got this from Terrence Williams. So I don't know where he got it, and like I said, I don't know where it's coming from, but this whole idea is just crazy. Against authoritarianism. I'm not sure. Against corrupt leadership. Well, that's 85 to 95% of Congress, plus your activist judges. Against racism, xenophobia, and injustice. Boy, aren't they hitting all of the buzzwords? For the rights of immigrants, workers, families, and everyday Americans. That's what kills me. So they're fighting for the rights of immigrants, workers, families, and everyday Americans. You mean supporting illegals? How is that fighting for the rights of everyday Americans? They're here illegally. They broke the law. For truth, transparency, and equality under the THU Constitution. Whoever did this did a poor job of editing. So we got I mean, this is just, I think this is crazy. So all day, when? All day, July 4th, 2025, your city, your street. So here's the question: your city, your streets, what street? What street? Are you going to go to the town square? Are you going to go to the courthouse? What street? They're not very clear, are they? I mean, who's going to organize this? Who's coordinating this in your local area? Do they have a coordination? So that's the reason why I'm wondering if this is even a thing. But knowing these people the way we do, and be, watching the way we have, it wouldn't be surprising that someone will take up the, either get paid to somehow try to coordinate this or something. Hey, Dynamax. Yeah, let's fight. Let's party. Let's just, why don't you call it what it is? You just want to have a block party, right? So who's invited? Everyone who believes in liberty, true liberty, not just the brand sold during election season. And they spell season SEASEN. This is for the silenced, the forgotten, the rising generation. This is for you. Uncle Sam wants you. So we're not backing down. We're not celebrating freedom while people are still in cages. Are you talking about illegal people or people who have committed a crime and are in jail? Is that what you're doing? I mean, what's the message there? In cage, are the kids in cages that that Obama put them in? Actually, and if you think about what President Trump did, those kids, some of them were gang members, and they were actually trying to get to the kids. And if President Trump didn't have a way of separating the kids from the adults, there would have been lots of sexual assaulting going on. We're not pledging allegiance, like I said, there's T leaders, it looks like they left off the two. So we're not pledging allegiance to our T leaders who want to rule, not, I think it's supposed to be serve, but it's SPRVE. We're not staying quiet when justice is on the line. How is going out and throwing Molotov cocktails, tearing up businesses, actually threatening people, how is that justice? How is allowing a criminal, a drug cartel member, a gang member hopping across the border to come in and rape and murder somebody and extorts people, how is that justice? So again, I have no idea. Yeah, that's a good question. Won't everyone think they're celebrating the 4th? Well, I guess if they make it peaceful and fly the American flag and not 5 different countries' flags, I suppose. So anyway, I'm gonna drop that share. So that was, like I said, I just thought that was crazy, and I just want to. So be on the lookout for the next 2 weeks. Be along the lookout for stuff like that. If these people got power, Uncle Sam, it would be Aunt Samantha. They would tell us Uncle Sam transition. Yeah, that's funny. So is there okay, so I should have asked earlier, is there anybody I can open up phone lines? I know Dynamax, do you have anything? Have I said anything to trigger you and you want to come in and talk about what's going on? Give us a history lesson. And by the way, for those of you that may be interested, yesterday morning I showed a video. It was actually from Bill Feeder, he's been on with Pam a couple of times on Patriots Soapbox. He was at the church. He was at Godspeak this past weekend, and he was given a pretty good detailed history on what's kind of going on, kind of tying everything into what's going on, and how the Wasabi Muslims are the I guess the most radical you can. They're the ones that come through Muhammad. There's the ties to Muhammad, and what they do, their tactic is they go into a neighborhood, going into as religious people, then they infiltrate the government, and then they just take over the neighborhood. The people of that neighborhood move out, and they just surround that neighborhood. Doesn't that sound familiar? Look what's happening. Look what's happening in England. And did you see that about England? England now has a bill that is basically allowing abortions even after birth. So this is England and UK. No, okay, Dynamics. So is there anybody that would like to call in and let me know? I will be happy to open up the phone lines, but I can't keep it open without anybody joining for about, it only allows me about 15 to 30 minutes, and then it kicks me out. So I really don't want to open those phone lines unless I have people who want to join in. So if you want to join in, let me know. Give me a 1, or give me a wave or something. Maybe give me a pepe or something to let me know that yes, you are interested in making a phone call and you want your voice to be heard. That's what Patriots Soapbox is all about, making your voice be heard. And with that also being said, we can use some more show hosts. Things happen. Show host health. Health gives out, or they have things happen, and sometimes the show host needs to take away for a while, take a break. If you are interested, you can get a hold of Aaron. You can get a hold to just about any show host. They'll put you they'll put you in contact with either Aaron or SoCo, and we'll get you trained. And you don't go it alone unless you feel comfortable. You can, but we can find a spot. There's all sorts of spots. Early morning spots are open. I mean, we have Based Amy. She's in England, so even if you're in another country, we can work something out that way too. So so Pink Panther, are you wanting to call in? Okay. If you're saying you'll call in, I will open up that phone line. Let me get the phone line. Do you have it? Here is the link. So there's 2 ways you can link up. You can go this way. And now I gotta remember what the number is. Here, let me... Hold on. Uh-oh, I've forgotten the number. Whoops. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. It's been such a while that I've forgotten how to, I've forgotten my passwords and everything. Hold on. Let me get it. Actually, I wrote it down somewhere. Oh, that's bad. I've forgotten my password. Hold on. It's like whoopsies. So give me a moment. Oh, I know what I can do. I know what I can do. Oh, this is the Return of the Nerds. Is it that one? Hold on. Oops, sorry guys. Alright, here we go. Okay. Let me see. I think I wrote it down. Yes. Yes. Okay, so the number to call in. So you could either go to the website. You could either go to the website or you can call 774 290 2200, and then the passcode is 305 2775. No, 305 2773. And let me get logged in. And I gotta get logged in on my hold on. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Okay, hold on. Uh-oh, it's been so long I've forgotten how to do this. Okay. Oh my. My. I don't want to create a new account. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Alright, sorry guys. Thank you for being patient while I try to remember all this. Okay, that's what it is. Alright. Alright, here we go. Okay, I have now opened up the lines if you want it. Forget about it. I got it. I got it. What do you mean forget about it? I got it. Okay, I got it. I got it. Are you gonna give up on me? It's been a while since I did it, so I will get this up and running. So just hold on. Hold on. I'm coming. Hold on. I'm coming. So just give a moment. 3 hours later. It's not 3 hours. Oh goodness. Okay.
Enter the tone and press the pound key.
Deb 65.
The conference will begin when the host arrives. You are now a host. The conference will begin when the next party joins.
Alright. So I have got the so somebody call in. So I got in. I got it. I apologize for it taking so long, but I did get it. And I guess I'll just keep it open and decides to call in. And just remember, in about 20 minutes, I will have to I'll have to close the lines. So in the meantime, I do have a couple of things. Let me see. Here's something I think, I don't know if people caught. I don't know if anybody caught this. Oh, I do have a caller. Alright, I do have a caller. Hold on. We have a winner. Winner, chicken dinner. Alright, hold on. Let me get the call up.
Hello.
Hello, caller. You are on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Oh, Pink Panther.
Hey, Pink Panther. How are you?
Oh, doing good. It took forever on this blasted phone to finally get through. My finger was getting double digiting. Anyways, I wanted to bring up a point that to me, logically, glares at me when I looked at it on the screen. If you could put it back up for me, that poster that had the march for July 4th and everything, and I would like to logically point out every single flaw that they have in their overall scheme of fear. It's the all of their wording on that poster is inflammatory. It's always binary.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
always we're against this, we're against that, we're against this, we're against that. Well, and it's never clearly defined. Then when they say we're for quote justice, and it's like, yeah, but you never really explain what justice is, do you? You don't explain the point. There's nothing trying to convince you of a point. You know, an idea as opposed to another.
Hey, Pink
You understand what I'm saying?
I do. Let me see. I'm going to try to. I got to figure out how I'm going to do this so that people can hear you. So I'm going to try to put this up and so you can go over it go.
I'm having a difficult time understanding what you're saying because you're breaking up.
Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. Okay.
On the phone, you're breaking up.
All right. Let me see. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how I can get both. You said you want to see the poster, but also I've got to figure out how I got to get you back online so people can see you or hear you speak, because they can't hear you speak if I take down the share, and I'm not sure how to.
Well, if you just switch screens, okay, you switch the screen from what you had on before, and now it shows the eagle back in, so you should be able to go back to the poster you had earlier. I'll be on a different tab.
Yeah, but yeah, and my thing is, can we do this too? Can you see it?
But that was the one that you had up after you had up the poster. With that's it right there. That's it right there. Now, if you could blow that up, okay. Yeah, and see the flaws in their logic and convincing. You remember back when they used to use the term, I really don't like your rhetoric. I don't like your rhetoric. Well, what they fail to transmit and tell you what rhetoric really is. Rhetoric is persuasive language.
Mm-hmm.
It's persuasive. It's not intimidation. It's not coercion. It's not fear. All right. It's not. All right. Because that's why we have those words for that kind of speech. Intimidating speech. Okay. Derogatory speech. You see, we have forgotten the usage of the English language so much, like the way that they exacerbate a problem that they've already created. We just say, well, they make the problem worse. No, they keep exacerbating it, and they do it with things like this poster. Yeah. It's always hold up the guy that we want to go after. Independence without tyranny. Well, you haven't told us where the tyranny is coming from. Obviously, it's coming from you guys. We know that. But it's always this. It's got to be one thing or the other. That's it. It's always against. I still can't see it really clearly. But anyway, the poster that is. But anyways, yeah, if you could blow it up, that would be great. Just Super Skies to open your screen up.
It's as open
if you can.
it's open as I can make it. I probably should have downloaded it
Okay.
to my computer and then I should have done that, but I didn't. I didn't. To be honest, I didn't expect a phone call. So, but I appreciate you calling about this. And if you, is there anything I can read specifically, maybe, and that so you can.
Oh no, there's nothing specific about it. It's the overall uh, usage of wording. It starts out against. All right, the header on each subject, say square, and then it's all they do. It's inflammatory speech. It is not rhetoric. All right. There's no rhetoric. There's no cohesiveness to it. There's certainly no theme. It's just show up. And it's so open ended. And here's the trick. Here's the trick. And it goes back to Bernays, that advertising dude. All right. This is what the liberals do. These people, they use words like the word empowerment. We remember that one from about 8 years ago. Empowerment, tolerance. All right. What they do is they hype these buzzwords. All right. Get people used to the idea. All right. But they never tell you what the meaning of that idea is. Their plan is to let you make up what that word means in your own head. Now, we could see what they make up in their own head because when we have interviewers going into the crowd asking, why are you here? What has Trump done that makes him a tyrant? You ask these pointed questions and they really have no fucking idea what they're there for. They just know that they're there to just get their way because they've made up in their own head from the Bernays model of this empowerment, this tolerance, this ideal that they keep calling a democratic value. It's not a democratic value. It's getting you to be stupid enough, agitated enough with a bad diet, bad habits that they've allowed, and then profligate. Oh, that's another word, profligate. Okay. Sensual pleasures. You've given away yourself to any damn kook and any damn substance that comes along that, that you'll tolerate. And hopefully when you tolerate somebody else, they can tolerate you for what you do. You see, that's part of the whole gig. All right. These people want to keep getting away with what we don't see them doing while they're protesting. They're doing something else, breaking the law, but they want to keep doing it because that's their form of tolerance and empowerment. You see?
All right.
There's no clear delineation about what Democrats mean when they say something. Mm-hmm. I watched old videos on YouTube about, say, old LA, just old LA. And I remember the words like they use the word blight. Oh, well, never describing what blight really means, but we're just going to call this urban blight. So that empowers us politically to just tear up a whole area and then just pay people peanuts for property that they owned and then turn it into, say Skid Row or turned it into a freeway. It's just, these people are sick. They're absolutely sick. They get you to destroy your own neighborhood. Yeah, well, they get you to destroy your own neighborhood using an idea they let you make up in your own head without ever telling you what to do. Except here, go firebomb that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you talk about and kind of case in point, the word blight, that's all over Agenda 2030. So they keep using the same.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
Yeah, but see now, what you have to do is you have to go back, and here it is. who makes up the word? Who's the wordsmith behind this? Remember, a wordsmith. It's like an iron worker. An iron worker builds something. A wordsmith builds an image in your head, okay, so to speak, if you allow it. And there, it becomes biblically, it becomes a stronghold in your mind, a stronghold of the devil. You see, this is what God takes away, are these strongholds, these myths that they create, that the world creates in our head. And you have your version of it, somebody else has their version of it, but inside bottled up are little tyrants that seemingly have to have it their way. Also, biblically, it says that in the latter days, it would be just like this. It would be. So all of the griping that I hear about, oh, when is this going to happen? When is that going to happen? Let's remember this. One thing is that according to law, investigations are not broadcast. They're not broadcast. In the old days, investigations were not broadcast. They were conducted in secret, and when the case was assembled, then the guilty parties were taken into custody, and the subsequent investigation was revealed. That's why we don't hear about investigations all day, because we're back to the old days, the way the law was written. Now that's number one. Number two is that if we keep remembering our Bible and what it says in Romans, then men will become lovers of themselves. There will be mass wrongdoing, and there will be those who will subscribe to it and permit those to do wrongdoing. It says it right in our Bible. So we need to start pulling our hair out a little bit. You know, I mean, take it easy on one another.
Yeah, I agree. But I kind of wonder if this is even a real poster. That's the reason why I'm sitting there saying, with all the misspellings and everything, and this, what you're saying about the rhetoric. I mean, the inflammatory words. I wonder if someone just put it out there and they're hoping to get traction. Is this really a movement, or is this just really something that someone put out there and to see if they can?
Okay,
get people...
if we go, here's the number one question that we need to ask ourselves at the onset, before we hear, see, or read something. Number one question is, we need to ask ourselves, who is doing this? All right. In other words, who's produced this poster?
Right.
All right. And for what purpose? For what purpose is it being said, or the commercial, or what the show, or what have you? What is the purpose? Why are they saying what they say, and why are they trying to convince you of what they've said? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who has the meat in the game? Okay. All right. Who has something to gain and lose from getting you on their side? Now, prime example, look at this poster, all right, and read it carefully. Ask yourself, well, who wrote it? All right, where does it come from? What's its origin? All right, then what is its purpose? Okay, and how does it do that? Well, it kind of gets you agitated. All right, oh, what's the purpose for agitating? Well, for doing what they subsequently to tell you later on. All right, so, but we need to ask ourselves critically, who's doing it, for what purpose, what do they get out of it, what do I get out of it? And then number 4, and I think maybe final, is it lawful? Is it lawful? And does it not just benefit me, does it benefit America? In other words, how selfish is the person that's asking himself this question? Okay, where's that person's head at? Are they even asking these questions? Most of the time, no. No, because they take it on blind faith. They've been trained to take so much on blind faith. You see?
Yeah.
No critical thinking. No. See, we used to use the word derive. How do you derive these ideas about rebellion? Well, how is this derived? Is it derived from the need for control? Well, obviously, we know that. We see that. It's derived from the need of control. This is also derived from the need of, we don't want disclosure of what we've been doing that the public generally knows now, you know, like Jeffrey Epstein and all those others that were so-called conspiracy theories, all right? So we know logically how this is derived. It's derived out of their fear, out of their manipulation to control, their manipulation to hide, and their manipulation to cause chaos to keep covering it up. I mean, here's a prime example. We go to Bruce and Nellie Orr, and what happened? Oh, their time ran out. We cannot prosecute because the statute of limitations ran out. Hey, how many times has that fortunately happened for Democrats? Huh, that's kind of funny. Except for the New Jersey Congressman Martinez finally got his ass in a sling and went to the slammer. Yeah. Martinez, you know, Mr. India Gold guy. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. He was let off on the first one, and I guess it was good enough. So he went back after him again, and he was finally found guilty. Yeah. Finally a scoundrel bites the dust. Yeah. Well, I'm just asking, you know, I was just pointing out some obvious things to me. Look, I'm going to tell you this real quick. Between you and me and all the viewers listening, I've heard this crap since the 1960s. I remember in Redondo Beach, where I was born and raised at, they were running these protest games to get their favorite mayor in, and he was a Fruit Loop. I mean, the 1960s Fruit Loop. He put everybody to shame today when it came to running for mayor. This guy had striped pants. He looked like Peter Frampton on acid. Okay. Anyways, no, what they would do is that they would have controllers in the crowd. They would have one crowd chant this, which was pro, which means they were for an amendment, or they were for this party. Then you would have the con crowd, which was over here saying, no, they're not. No, they're not. Do you know what one famous line that I heard during the 1960s? Watch out, they're coming for your children next. Then I would hear over there, no, they're not. Well, guess what? They've been coming after your children since the 60s. They were saying it then, and they were denying it then. The seesaw, like Felix Grimm talks about. Yeah. When she pointed out, they do this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, you know what that back and forth means? It also points back to the Bible called the tribulation. Now, we're not in a tribulation. We're in tribulous times. Now, going back to ancient times, a tribulum was a tool to shave, okay, evenly. It was a sharp edge. So what you would do is you'd shave what it is that you're shaving, such as maybe horsehair or something. And you would shave it, then you would advance it a little more, shave it, and then back and forth. A tribulum. That's where we get the word tribulation from. It's a tribulum, back and forth, shaving a little more, shaving a little more, taking a little more off. These fools, and God calls them fools, think that they could just keep wearing us down like this, and they are, and each time a little more rights or a little more of this goes away until you have finally nothing. Okay, nothing. Wearing us down, back and forth, back and forth. You know, you see where I'm going with this?
I think so.
Well, finally, God says, fine, you're going to get what you guys want. I'm going to take my bride. Well, actually, the father is saying, I'm going to tell my son, the bride is ready. That's it. The bride is ready. He shows up. He takes his bride, which is us, takes us back for the wedding, and then says, well, hide yourselves for a season. We've heard that. Hide yourselves for a season, locked away, and then he goes to town. Yeah, with us following. Yeah, I mean, it's the imagery and God's word comes alive when you really, when you really study it. When I not study, I haven't studied that much. It's knowing it and remembering it from good pastors and good Bible teachers. That the words and will have meaning. The tribulum and the tribulation, the action of the tribulum going back and forth. This is what we're experiencing, is the tremulous times. And this is why people are freaking out, or they're finding Christ. Yeah. Or they've just given up. They've just given themselves over. They've allowed themselves to be given over. This is why also we're seeing complete non-cakery. I mean, it's not cakery. It's like this has never really before occurred in history, where we have to have this gender-affirming care. Really, where else in history have we had to have gender-affirming care that was so monumentally important? I mean, monumentally important, this gender care. Really. Never before in our history have we had to have that. Until now. Remarkable, isn't it? Absolutely remarkable. Gee, we've never had to have certain things or believe a certain way until just now. Remarkable again. Yeah, man, and it's beyond me that people, they've just let this go by. You know, I'm talking mainstream, and they haven't blinked an eye. And here's the funny thing: you got to watch out for these these bird calls. I mean, dog whistles. The biggest dog whistle I saw came out of Nancy Pelosi's mouth. The biggest one. When she was getting off an airplane, she was arriving, I think, here in Frisco or something. She got off the airplane, and she was in somewhat of a panic. She didn't get a good welcoming committee. And she said, well, you know how the question came from the reporter, like, well, what are you folks going to do now? I think it was like in 2018 or 2019. She said this. She says, well, right now we're exploring cutouts. But we need the money for them. Now, she said that. We're exploring cutouts, but we need the money for them. Well, let's see. What happened then? We had riots, BLM, the trannies came out in force. What else? Gee, Act Blue was running around crazy. Act Blue was running around with its head on fire. We had the Me Too movement. Well, I'll tell you what else. Those cutouts. Yeah, I think those cutouts were the tranny crew. BLM, the Act Blue, and toss a few others in there because they needed the money, you see. But just 2 years previous to that, they were down Mexico City begging expatriate Americans for money. Remember when they were begging Mexico for money?
Yeah.
And then miraculously, Nancy Pelosi said they're exploring cutouts, but they need the money for them, for the cutouts. See? Yeah. Kind of remarkable, those dog whistles, when you pay attention to the wording very closely. It kind of stood out in my mind. I wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention it because, go ahead.
I was just going to say, did you see that came out in the last day or two that the DNC is saying that they're broke? I wonder why. You think it has anything to do with
the US? See what?
Huh? Do you think it had anything to do with USAID getting defunded?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. I couldn't quite clearly hear you.
Okay. Did you see? I saw in the last day or two that the DNC is broke. Do you think it could be?
Oh yeah.
Because of the USAID, being defunded.
Oh, big time. Yeah. See, the DNC. Here's the funny thing is, and it goes to how irresponsible these people are. I mean, here it is. You've stolen billions of dollars, and they've had funding streams. USAID was a funding stream. That's what it was. Case closed. All right. Case closed. It was a funding stream. It served a purpose. And so did Act Blue, and so did BLM, and a couple of other offshoots. But what I'm saying is that they spent the money not responsibly as a political, I mean, if you can call it a political party, it's not a political party. It's a gangster group. It's a group of gangsters. That's all they are. It's gangsters. It's modeled after Al Capone, for crying out loud. It's modeled after any other despot. All right? They're just a bunch of despots. That's all they are. Okay? But seemingly they can't seem to get their own shit together when it comes to, hey man, don't you think that's kind of a foolish expense? Paying a bunch of faggots to run around and say, here, look at my crotch. You're going after Bud Light. You're going after this. You're going after that. Come on, guys. I mean, even now, what I really laugh at was the way that Raging Cajun shows up. I mean, we dogs. I'm trying to remember what his name is. Thank God I forgot it. You want somebody to laugh at. He looks like one of the Muppets came alive. I mean, it just... He's telling them in no uncertain words, look, you guys need to get your act together instead of forming these committees and doing these bitch sessions. And, this is all they do is sit around and gripe and bitch all day long, finding out, well, what's going to be their next they call it a grievance. Oh, what grievance? They don't even call it a grievance anymore. It's not. No, It's beyond a grievance. It's just terrible two toddler. I mean, that's case closed. Terrible two toddler. Yeah. Who were not taught the facts of life. I mean, the basic facts of life. A little give and take, a little compromise, a little, hey, take it easy, slow down. Remember when black people used to say, hey man, you put too much on it? Well, I haven't heard that in a long time. I think it's time for it to come back. Hey, man, you put too much on it. All right. Let me tell you something, what I did. And I'm not one to brag about what I do as gifts. I went over, and it's literally a half a block away from me, is Central LAPD Division. It's literally Central Division. It's about 100 yards away from me, right here in downtown. The Wednesday before these kooks decided to spin off into the universe, you know, with all the riots, it came to me a few days before Wednesday, hey, why don't you go over and just buy a round of coffee, you know, for the boys over there at the station. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, some idea about, you know, give a little money here, give a little money there. Never bothered me, you know, it doesn't bother me that much. And I thought, but buying coffee for a coffee station, you know, and the cost didn't bother me. I didn't really research it, so I let it go by. It came back up again the day after, and I'm like, that's funny, that idea came up again. I'll have to give it consideration, so I let it go. Well, it came up a third time, and it came up Wednesday, the Wednesday before the riots. And I thought, okay, wait a minute, Lord. This came up a third time. Should I just act on this? Yeah, why not? So I went, shaved, showered, and got dressed, walked right into the station, and it's dingy. I mean, it's homeless all around, parked all around. If you walk in the station, it's pretty dingy. So I waited my turn, got to the window there, and I talked to a nice gentleman. I said to him, I said, my name's Mark. I live right over here, just, you know, half a block. And I said, as a matter of fact, your sergeant I bumped into is on a call right there right now. And I said, hey, you know, I just wanted to buy you guys a round of coffee. There's not much I could do, but I thought, you know, I could just buy the station a round of coffee. I'm going to go up the street and what I could do. Hey, yeah, that's really cool. Thanks a lot. Well, anyways, after running around and calling and everything, and I wasn't able to get anybody to deliver it, I had came back home to call and see what I could do for delivery. Couldn't do it in downtown. That's funny. In downtown Los Angeles, I couldn't find a way or anybody to actually deliver it without jumping on another app. Oh, that's funny. Anyways, so I walked back over to the police station. I said, you know what? I tried, explained to him what I just said. I said, well, I'm going to walk up the street to the Starbucks, which is about 2.5 blocks away. Got up the street to that Starbucks. It's closed forever. It's closed. It's shuttered. So I walked down the street, one long block, and I thought, oh, okay, it's a small company coffee shop. I bought a whole bean there before, walked right in, and I asked the girl, I said, you're my last hope. I said, do you have box coffee? She said, yes, we do. We don't do it all the time. I said, oh, cool. I said, I'm doing it, I guess about 24 people. Can we do like 3 boxes? And long story short, they brewed up 3 boxes of coffee, put in 24 cups, the sugar in the raw, regular sugar, stirrers. And I said, she brought up 2 quarts of half and half. She was going to bring out 3, and I says, no, take the third one back, because that third one will turn into cottage cheese in the back fridge. Okay, in the back of the fridge. Boxed it all up. I brought it down and brought it in to the police station. 3 boxes of coffee. They were thrilled, bro. I seen some big ass smiles on them. I mean, they were stoked. And I thought, okay, cool. All right, well, you folks enjoy. And I was just a little booster, and sat around and talked with them. I capped on Karen Bass a lot. I capped on Gavin Newsom a lot, and talked about how bunch of Looney Tunes they were. And wouldn't you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the whole week was nothing but riots. And I thanked God. Hey, thank you, Lord, that I was able to just go over there and just give him a little shot in the arm before all this stuff kicked off. It was remarkable timing on God's part.
Definitely, and that he could use you. So thank you for being a willing servant, because they probably needed it. I mean, the fact that they can't even go get Starbucks. I mean, not that I like Starbucks, because of the symbolism of Starbucks and what we know about how Starbucks, being pro illegals and everything. Basically sitting there saying,
no, it's not a it. It wasn't a service, and it wasn't a sacrifice.
Yeah.
It was purely just it was a gift, and it's what it was. It was just purely just a gift, and it was just to show appreciation, just show appreciation.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I mean,
I could have said I could have stood there, huh?
I was just gonna say, no. My point is how many people hear that still small voice, and then they just kind of ignore it to the point that they don't hear that small voice anymore. And the fact that you actually listened and heard that voice, and you're blessed. They were blessed. I think that's important to. Sometimes it's the blessing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've received the blessing by blessing others, and I don't think people understand that a lot of times.
Oh, I'm not looking for anything. Yeah, I'm not. That's not a goal of mine, is to see. Okay, give a blessing. No, no. Mine is. Well, here it is. I mean, let's go back to the old Tony Orlando and Dawn song. Knock 3 times on the. No. Okay. I think God knows me by now. I know he knows me. Is that if the same idea comes a third time, then there's a reason. It's like, okay, that it's an unusual idea, and it comes up a third time. There's a reason for that. The second time it was like, I'll take that into consideration, and then not think about it for another, I don't know, 24 hours, but then have it crop back up a third time. And then that's when I take notice. That knock 3 times. Mm-hmm. and then I ask, I said, oh, Lord, is this, And then there wasn't really just go ahead and do it. And it was just, I just got up and just did it. I just got up, shaved, showered, got dressed, not really thinking, and just walked right out and, popped in there and said hi, out of the blue, fresh, no motive. I'm not here to report anything. No, not me. They didn't know me from Adam Wall Fox. I've gone in there and said, I used to be a criminal, and I used to do this. Man, you should have believed me. You should have seen me in the old days. I could have gone there and just given them all kinds of history and say, but I chose to do this instead. No, go in there. I was happy. Go in there with a smile on my face and just, hey, boys, thanks a lot, and have a good day. And then leave. Yeah. And then I was grateful that occurred, because when I saw that, well, by Sunday and Monday, I was thinking, whew, I'm sure gentlemen and ladies are tired. Yeah.
They definitely needed that. That is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. Well, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to go up to Rampart Station next. Well, now that's they don't know it. This is between you and me. Okay. I went over to the headquarters. It was funny. Now that Wednesday that I went over there, okay, I had to recover. I had to recover Thursday. But then I hoofed it down onto the headquarters, which is a good distance away for me. And went and talked to 2 gentlemen there. and crack jokes about Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom again. And I asked him, so how many, the coffee shop that used to be there is no longer there. Years since I'd seen it. Oh, sorry. Hello?
Still here?
Are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
okay. Anyways, yeah, I did. I accidentally bumped something with my cheek on the, anyways, so I was talking with the two gentlemen there at the desk of the LAPD headquarters, right there headquarters, and I asked them, so how many folks are on duty right now? So I get you a round of coffee over here, and they're saying, oh, there's just a few of us, and I said, oh, so this is all mostly administration. He says, yeah. He says, and it's Friday, and it's all. So this is about 3:30 in the afternoon. And I'm thinking like, oh, so it's kind of a dead run. And they're saying, yeah. But hey, man, thanks for doing that for Central for us. And I said, well, I'm not done yet. I'm going to hit up somebody else. I just haven't figured out where yet. And they're laughing and all that stuff. So we had a good time talking. And then that Friday, I come walking back, parked it, and I'm pooped. I've had 2 good exercise days. And wouldn't you know, all this stuff starts popping up. And that very glass door and those windows that I walked past on Friday were shattered the following day.
Oh, wow.
And I thought to myself, those son of a bitches, I don't say those other words on the air, but I mean, I was pissed. I was pissed. And I'm thinking, wow, man, we so-called give you the right to do this, and you call this a friendly, peaceful protest? You don't talk about the damage to the building? Now, this is paradoxically true, all right? It's paradoxically true. As I said that I'm only a half a block away from this central division. It's division, not headquarters. Only a half a block away. Did you know that no protesters will come walking down my street or anywhere I'm at in Skid Row? It's like garlic, or it's like wearing garlic around your neck that keeps the vampires away. Truly.
Or it could be the warrior angels and the guardian angels surrounding your street because you're there as a sanctifier, and God is surrounding you and keeping you safe, and because of those, you are sanctifying those around you.
Well, there are other Christians in my on the property I'm on. There are, yeah, I'm sure there are. It's where I'm at, the actual parcel that has separate buildings, and it has actual grounds with trees, something you don't see in downtown on a lot very much anymore. It's well maintained. There's 24/7 video surveillance. Peaceful, quiet. Nice and quiet. In other words, you don't hear anything in the background where I'm at. You'd never know I was in downtown LA near Skid Row right now. Never guess, even if I open up the window. It's peaceful and quiet here. And I think most of us like it that way here. Yeah. I've got a pole right here. It's one of those stiff, it's not PVC. It's the hardcore water line that you use for high pressure water line kind of plastic. And it's about 5.5 foot long. And you get whacked with that thing. If anybody came onto the property and tried doing nefarious things in here, you could bet I'd go Shinto warrior on them. We're real quick with that pole. Yeah. No firearms, but boy, I'll go Shinto warrior on you. Yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry to keep you on for so long. I just wanted to
appreciate
Just
your call.
well, I can't let my hair down because I'm bald. So, yeah.
Well, I definitely appreciate
Yeah.
your call.
Well, I
And
just wanted to
go ahead.
let us know what was going on, and yeah, and observation. Remember, the keys to use observation is who's showing me this or who's telling me, why are they telling me this, and what do they hope to get out of it,
Yeah.
or what do they hope that I get out of it,
Mhm.
or are they just trying to make me think that I'm getting something out of it?
Right.
Yeah. All they do is just feed people Twinkies. There's no nutrition, there's no information to it. It's
Right.
nothing but Twinkies. Yeah, we used to call them Pinkos in the old days because they were not pure red communist. They were pink. This is why Archie Bunker called them, these bunch of Pinkos. Yeah, that's what we called them, Pinkos. Hmm. Should make that word great again.
Yeah. Right.
Hey, Pinko, what's up? No, we had our words for them. We had our words for them. Okay, dipshit was one, you know. Yeah, I mean, freak. Yeah, yeah. And by the way, here's another point of interest. All of that hippie movement and all of that other hate Ashbury crap, that pretty much started right there at Redondo and Hermosa Beach. It migrated north real quick, but it pretty much started in Hermosa and Redondo Beach.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll have to go into detail about that. The reasoning, no, not the reasoning. I know it because I saw the city literally flip from one Sunday going to Sunday school to the next Sunday going to Sunday school and asking Dad, what's going on? It changed. It changed literally overnight.
Right.
And it was a military operation.
Is that what
Go ahead.
it is? Well, because I wondered, because I grew up in Texas, and I had a friend who was from California, and she spent probably most of her adult life in Texas. I think maybe from the time she was 12, so she spent a good 30 years, and she towards after her husband passed, she was like, oh, I want to go back to California. And I asked her once, and I was like, what is it? It seems like all the weird, I'm sorry to describe it like this way, but remember, I'm a Texan. I was born in Texas. So why did it seems like all this weird movement, the swinging movement, the hippie movement, like you said, all started in California. You didn't hear it coming out like from New York or some other state, or Washington or anything. It always seems like these weird movements started from California. Why do you think that is? You think it was from the military influence, or do you think it was something else?
It's from the South, and I'll tell you why. The Southern California has always, and when I say always had a very strong military presence. All right? Particularly the Air Force and the Army. You had McDonnell Ducks, you had Hughes Aircraft, you had McGarrett, and Hughes played a huge part in it. Plus, at one time in Los Angeles, you had military academies for youth. All right? There were military schools. I remember my own dad threatening me one time. He says, if you don't shape up, I'm going to send you to a military school. And I thought, holy crap. If I go to a military school, it's worse than where I'm at right now. I better shape up. But I could give you so much personal history that factually I know that the military had a very strong presence. TRW today, well, TRW is not what it once was during the 60s and 70s when I knew it, but it's all aerospace. The Air Force had their own West Coast headquarters right there on Aviation Boulevard in Manhattan Beach. Okay? Now, yes, there are underground passageways. Yes, there are. I know that. So any question that may come up, are there underground passages around there? Yes, there are. And there, there are many, many, quote, secrets. Here it is. Here it is. This is how the hippie movement was kind of rolled out. When there used to be extensive railroad lines from LA all throughout, along down through the coast and up the coast. We're talking about 3 different separate lines: the Santa Fe, the Pacific Electric, and 1 or 2 others. Even Ringe had their own sort of railway. Okay. Now, these rails had to have facilities. These facilities were like stations for like water, if you're running steam, coal stations. And for steam, you needed to store water. You also needed to purify water. All right. You needed to distill it. All right. At least take the junk out of it. So you had facilities for that. Well, where were most of those facilities? Well, most of them were underground. Also, the gear mechanisms and the pendulums that were used to swing these huge, they were sledge hooks that would pull the train up the side of the mountain, which would be Manhattan Beach Boulevard, up from the pier. The Manhattan Pier was just a wharf at one time, but it was a loading and unloading fishing wharf, ship wharf at one time. So you had these big earthenworks and these big concrete mechanical works hidden underneath for this big winching machinery to bring the train and load up to the top of the mountain, which would be at Pacific Avenue, and then for it to continue on. Well, LA, our geography was designed in such a way, its natural features. The engineers at that time that built the rails had used the hills to let the train gain momentum and get most of the way to most of the stops. So in other words, you weren't always burning coal to go from point A to point B. You were using these huge mechanical pendulums and winches to go back and forth between these high points. Do you get it? One high point was in Palos Verdes, and one high point was in the Hollywood Hills. Yeah. And they would go back and forth, back and forth. It was like a fairyland out there at one time in the 20s. And these works were being done in the 1880s, 1890s, before my grandmother came here in 1926. My grandmother and my grandfather came here to Los Angeles in 1926. So my history at the age of 65 goes way back. I mean, I know the old history. And a lot of it is buried. And as I said, yeah, there's underground tunnels. Yeah. Oh, I know it for a fact. Yeah. My dad was he had the inside line on everything. He was born and raised in Hermosa Beach. He knew all of the crooked inside and out. Big time. He was friends with Richard Riordan, who used to be our mayor in LA. He grew up with him. He grew up with Richard Riordan. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not saying we were politically connected. We were connected in many ways that were not political. It connected in ways that I won't go into here. But anyways, I've seen all of this stuff. Our parents raised my brother and I with it. So we see the politics. We know the game. We knew it when we were 18, 19 years old. Okay. To us, it was old hat, as they call it. Mm-hmm. Remember, Hollywood is for the beautiful people. Politics is for the ugly ones. Okay? Simple. Look at Jerry Nadler. Okay, he couldn't make it as an actor, so he made it as a politician. Otherwise, he'd be playing the penguin. Yeah, okay? For Newsom, I told the cops, I said, Governor Newsom, I said, this guy calls us our governor. He walks around with rolled up sleeves, and I'll bet he's never swung a hammer in his whole life. I'll bet he's never stuck a shovel into the ground once. And he laughed and chuckled. I said, no, I mean it. I mean it. He couldn't swing a hammer if his life counted on it. But he could stand up there and tell us what we need to do. Remember, always we. Or if we're at, society is at fault for this. Like, excuse me, you didn't provide the economic environment for these people to survive. Okay? Simple. You play the numbers game again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The LA has had problems for decades. I mean, decades. It's been run by mafias, cartels, gangsters, and then this goes back to the 1910s, 1920s. It's nothing new. Nothing new at all. Yeah. The only difference is that you cannot arm yourself now. In the old days, you used to be able to. In the old days, when I was a child, I had a gun. Now, I didn't use it, but I knew where one was. Yeah. No, you didn't go bragging about it. You didn't break it out and show your friends. No. But at the age of about 10, 11 years old, yeah, I found one tucked under a bar at the, let me see now, at the back entrance of a bar, somebody had taken the screen out of the vent for the building, that goes underneath the building. And I had reached my hand in there. I'm a little kid, I'm going to see what's in there. Oh, why, that's something. And I picked it up and put it in my pocket and walked away. Yeah. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers. I had some old man complaining to me, what did you do with my gun? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. It's simple. Those were the old days. Those were the old days. If you're stashing something, it means you're trying to hide it for a reason. Okay? You can't keep it on you. So if somebody else finds it, you should be halfway glad that they found and got rid for you. Huh? Yeah. Those were the old days. Now, of course, Mom and Dad found it and said, now, what are you doing with this? Where did you find it? Told them the truth, where I found it. Okay, fine. Well, we're going to keep it for you. All right. And they shut up about it naturally. That's the way my parents were at the time. So my parents were not nothing. They put on a good show. They put on a beautiful show. I mean, very clean house, immaculate. We were like the Brady Bunch -4. Okay, great. Okay, but that was display. That was window dressing. When it came to the nitty gritty, oh no, Mom and Dad were nothing nice. Oh, no. And I'm not talking about the whoopings. I'm talking about their criminal behavior. Oh. I've got stories that will curl your toes. Yeah. I mean, things that would make you go, what the hell is he talking about? Yeah, but they're all factual. Yeah. It shows you how scandalous people can be. It really does. I mean, I came to realize it later that Mom and Dad were just full of nuts. They're not crazy nuts. I'm talking criminally nuts. Oh yeah, scandalous. Whoo-wee. Anyways, I bear no resemblance to that at all. Yeah, because fortunately, I'm forgiven through Christ Jesus. Yeah, found him a long time ago. Anyways, I've been on here for well over a half an hour. I've been taking your time.
Well, that's okay. It's been a good talk, and it's I enjoy having callers. You we didn't have any. I didn't have any other callers on, so the floor was yours, and that's what Patriot Soapbox is for. For people to come and share their stories, share their ideas, uh, share their experiences, even. So I think it's really nice
Well,
that you ever to go to the police station right before the riots and bless them with coffee, and it was really interesting to get some history. I like history, and so I think no, you're doing fine, and chat liked listening to your stories and liked you too.
Yeah, I may say that I've been toying with the idea of maybe doing a show, and if I do, I would jump right into doing serious research. There's certain things that stand out. I mean, stand out that are burned in my memory. For one thing, and I said this previously when I was being interviewed by Chris Craw, that God gave me my memory back. I said that to her, and I said that to her audience at the time when I was asked about the McMartin School and the tunnels and all this stuff, and I gave an answer from what I knew factually to be true, what I had witnessed. Eyewitness, okay? None of this speculation or rumor or secondhand. No, I was a child, okay? I was about 3 and 4 years old, 5 years old, and subsequently I was growing. But I remember back at that time, I was very young, very specific times, very specific landmarks, what it looked like, was operating there, what the sounds were like, all of that stuff. At any rate, and I was able to substantiate what some of her viewers knew at the time, what they experienced at that time, and I validated that. All right, I validated it. That's what truth does. Is it validates your suspicions. It validates your experience in front of somebody else that may have doubted it one time. It substantiates it. It validates it. That's what I seek, is to educate, help validate, and help, elucidate some of these institutions that had gone awry, like, say, the United States Army and the Air Force. They did it through hidden channels. We know that, by and large, the frontline soldiers, the frontline command staff are all pretty much honky-dory people, okay? It's the ones that are playing the game upstairs in the back room that we never see or hear about. Those are the ones that we're uncovering. Those are the ones that are pulling the strings, that are making these institutions jump to a different tune than their populace wants, okay? Nobody really wanted to do a human experiment except the real sick motherfuckers, okay? So we'll get the Army to do it, all right, instead of doing it on society. We'll get these people to do that instead of this, because we really can't do it on the populace, even though little Johnny looks cute and we want to get little Nancy too, all right? I mean, these people are sick. They really are sick. Oh yeah. Yeah. Look, nothing's changed under the sun. They were doing it then, and they're doing it now. They just changed flavors. That's all. Remember Baskin Robbins 31 flavors?
Mm-hmm.
Take a liberal in there and let them make up their mind. Yeah, right. Yeah. Here's your gingers right here. Baskin Robbins. Go take your flavor. Okay? That's as far as I go. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, they're sick. So yeah, as I said before, I'm thinking about doing a show. Yeah, and maybe using. I've been toying with this the Google AI, asking them specific questions about what I know to be true in Redondo Beach and Manhattan Beach, asking about certain rail lines, and it kind of halfway answers the question. It says, while there were da 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 da, it doesn't say specifically yes. It alludes to it, but then it goes to the modern day facility that's operating now, and I'm like, I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for a specific window of time, specific location, and the rail line that was there. Okay, you know, it's so I was thinking of incorporating that, seeing how historically accurate this AI may be, and if we can remember the key word, derive anything out of it. Derive. It means to concentrate into one singular tangible proof. How do you derive this? In other words, what process did you go through to achieve this that you're telling me? Yeah, and then do research like we did. I mean, some real hardcore research. And trust me, I know where I was raised at and everything. The Masons were on it. All of that. All of it. Trust me, I know. I've been through the rigmarole. It's yeah. No, yeah. It was nothing pretty, but yeah. Well, like I said, I'm going to let you go, and I'm still going to toy with the idea about giving a call and doing a show. The only thing I'm worried about is waking up on time. That's my only problem. If I get a 4 o'clock in the morning show, I'm going to be like,
Yeah. I can relate to that. I get up. I don't get any sleep from Wednesday to Thursday, so I can understand that. So anyway, see, I think he muted his mic.
You are the
guys.
last party in the conference.
Okay, so that was Pink Panther, everybody. He's already left the building. Pink Panther's left the building. And so thank you, Pink Panther, for your call. Very informative, I think. Very interesting, and agenda, they use the inflammatory. That's one reason why I tried to put that disclaimer. I do not know how true this is. I don't know if for all I know, it could have been a MAGA person who came up with this just to either make fun of them or try to get people stirred up. I've been saying this for several months. I don't trust any side anymore, just for the simple fact that when you're an introvert, and because I usually don't like to talk unless I actually have something to say. So here, Pink Panther was talking about tunnels. So this came out on the 18th, which was on Wednesday. San Diego Sector Border Patrol uncovers sophisticated cross-border drug smuggling tunnel. I wonder what else they smuggled. Was it just drugs? U.S. Border Patrol agents have uncovered and disabled a large-scale narcotic smuggling tunnel linking Tijuana to the San Diego area. The uncompleted tunnel extended more than 1,000 feet inside. I wonder how long it took them to dig that. Inside the U.S. and was highly sophisticated. In early April, Border Patrol agents assigned to the San Diego sector tunnel team discovered the tunnel as it was actively under construction. The tunnel team made entry into the tunnel, which ran under a portion of the Otay Mesa port of entry. Based on preliminary indications, the tunnel had a projected exit point near or within a nearby commercial warehouse space. So I'm sure, what's the best place to hide is in the warehouse district, right? The investigation revealed the tunnel was equipped with electrical wiring, lighting, ventilation systems, and a track system designed for transporting large quantities of contraband. So who's funding these tunnels? Is it just the cartels, or is it another group? Is it an NGO? When agents made the first entry into the tunnel, they encountered multiple makeshift barricades. The barricades were placed haphazardly by the tunnel workers in an apparent effort to impede the agents' southbound progress and the eventual identifications of the tunnel's origin. Agents carefully mapped the tunnel, which measured 2,918 feet in total length. Inside the tunnel, dimensions measured 42 inches in height, 28 inches in width, and ran approximately 50 feet underground at its deepest point. On Monday, Border Patrol, in collaboration with Homeland Security Investigations and Government of Mexico, I thought she wanted us to, I wonder what part of Mexico, authorities worked to locate the origin point of the tunnel. The entrance was located within a residence, so here, within a residence in the Nueva Tijuana neighborhood. Mexican authorities served a warrant at the location and found the entrance to the tunnel had recently been concealed by freshly laid tile. As we continue to strengthen the nation's air and maritime border security, it's not surprising that foreign terrorist organizations would resort to underground routes. We kind of know that this from years ago, too. So Jeffrey D. Stalnaker, acting chief patrol agent of the San Diego sector. Disruption of narcotic smuggling tunnels is critical to protecting American lives. I'm grateful for the exceptional work of the tunnel team agents who place themselves in danger. I mean, can you imagine if there's, depending on how it's structured, if it were to collapse, as well as the cooperation of our Mexican law enforcement partners. Since 1993, more than 95 tunnels have been found and decommissioned in the San Diego area. I bet Panther probably have some history about that. The tunnel has been scheduled for immediate remediation by the U.S. Border Patrol San Diego Sector Tunnel Team. Contractors will pour thousands of gallons of concrete into the tunnel, preventing the tunnel from use by foreign terrorist organizations. Like I said, I wonder how long it took this tunnel, because look at that. Can y'all see that picture? I don't know if I can get it. I don't know if I can get it. But look, I mean, can you imagine? That's a pretty tall tunnel too. And there's a railing system. Let's see here, there's rails, there's a pipe. I wonder what is that water, steam, what, all these. So to prevent the illicit smuggling of humans, drugs, and other contraband, the U.S. Border Patrol maintains a high level of vigilance along corridors of the egress away from our nation's borders. And so to report suspicious activity to U.S. Border Patrol, contact 911 or San Diego sector at 619-498-9900. So anyway, so I wanted to bring that to people's attention because it's just things are happening. We don't see it. Yeah. So anyway, it's just what can I say? Yeah, I'm sure there were tunnels out under Alamo, under the Alamo and Waco. I mean, a lot of these places had to, especially like the forts, I'm sure, had to have some way of getting out undetected when they were under attack, or if they were under a siege. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. It's like I've said before, there's not much that surprised me. In fact, I see Mo is in the house. Hey, Mo, how are you? She may not be ready.
Good.
Hey,
I'm here.
I was just going to say that I got to catch your show the other day about you were playing that thing about Flip Wilson, and
Oh yeah.
I know my dad loved Flip Wilson, and after we heard about after this stuff about the uh, pedophilia stuff, and I wondered about Flip Wilson because of his Geraldine character, and nothing surprises me anymore. And my thing is, it just kind of makes me sad. The people you kind of really enjoyed watching and everything, to find out that they were probably or possibly part of the club, so to speak. And but the thing is I thought it was interesting too, since the story was he got out of the entertainment business to be a father to his 4 kids. So whatever the story may be, I don't know, but if it does turn out to be true, it's really sad. It doesn't surprise it should surprise me, but it doesn't. But it makes me sad that if it is true,
I barely remember him, but I think what the bodyguard was getting at was this stuff was going on. Flip was not down with it, but you know, exposed the bodyguard to it and said this stuff goes down. And then the part about wearing the dress had always humiliated him. He was always self-conscious about that, or whatever. Geraldine, when they were talking about that, I kind of didn't really know what they were talking about, but it sounded like Flip wasn't really down with any of it and said, I can't talk about this, but you can, to the bodyguard. So
Oh, okay. Well, so maybe he wasn't. Maybe that may be the reason why he got out of the entertainment. Because you see, he was pretty popular. I mean, because
I mean, they definitely have,
he was on
they
like,
have their agendas,
yeah, he was like on Rowan
put
Martin's
men in dress.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I know with D Live, and it's hard to tell, but I think he was on Rowan Martin Laughing. I think he even came on Dean Martin's show, even. But I mean, he had the strut, and he did. He said some. He would say some. I don't remember everything he would say. I just knew that my dad loved him, and I thought, because hey, I'm a kid. My dad thought it was funny. I thought it was funny too. So, but yeah, especially
Yeah.
because he had the walk, he had the strut, he had the woman strut, and he did a lot of the variety shows. He even had his own show, his own TV show. I think if we're short
I
lived.
mean, even movies like Tootsie and Mrs. Doubtfire at the time were pretty funny until you hear Dave Chappelle talk and realize that they're trying to do this to everybody.
Mhm.
And that's not the only agenda. You got the hip hop, let's put violence and sex and drugs into every song. And, you know, it's just the whole Hollywood,
Yeah,
let's
the
destroy
message.
society.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. Yeah, it just yeah. But yeah, and I tell you what, and it's like I said, if you want to know what's going on today, go watch some of these TV shows from during Obama's time, like Scorpion and Bull, even with Michael Weatherly, from NCIS, and some of these things you're just like, oh my gosh. I know and then there's another TV show called Leverage, and I think the creative team of Leverage really do their homework, because they came up and said, "Yeah, did you know that there's a black ops stash over in the Panama Canal? That's where all the people hold all the elites. Basically, it doesn't matter if it's crooks or the crooked, the politicians, the cartels, the gangsters. They have this black op money stash site over in the Panama Canal that are it's being guarded by kind of a what's it, not military but ex-military, or what, the mercenaries, at least that's what the show. And
Yeah.
I'm looking at that and I'm saying, I bet that's true, and so anyway, well, I know it's time for your show, so I'll get out and let you start. So you have a great show. And chat, thank you to Pink Panther, to my caller. And guys, please, if you can, I put out my YouTube. I am trying to do live stream. I'm just having problem connecting share with my YouTube and my Zoom. So, but if you ever get a chance and you get a notification through my YouTube, I think next time I'll try Rumble, see if I can do something through Rumble. I don't know yet. And I put out my Rumble, and I also put out my PayPal. So with that being said, sorry, Mo, I'm going over a little bit, but you have a great show and a great
Oh, no
weekend.
worries. You too. Thanks, Deb. Have a good night.
You too.